Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I have with me Musharraf, and we are here to discuss a breaking news topic, which at first I thought, oh, this is a bit ridiculous. And then as I heard more and more about it, I just thought this is so ridiculous, and it's even more ridiculous. The more I think about it, I'm like, what? So we're going to discuss the Manny Pacquiao versus Ryan Garcia. I don't know if it's a title fight, it's an exhibition fight. I think it's probably going to be an exhibition fight. What were your first thoughts when you saw the news?
I saw it come up on my phone and I immediately got off Instagram. That is it. I literally put my phone down. And then I opened it back up and I had a read. And I was just like, I don't want to curse or anything, but, I was just why? You're what, how old is he? 21, 22?
21, 22,
What business do you have fighting like a 42-year-old man or whatever Uncle Pac is? Just let Uncle Pac get on with whatever he needs to do. But I guess there's probably been interest on both sides. That's why it's come about. So yeah, it's just as an exhibition, I think it sits better with me, because if it was a competitive fight, I wouldn't be interested in it at all.
Do you think though? But in my mind, I'm more of the thinking that I don't like the fight at all, just because I feel like Ryan Garcia is. I'm going to be honest. I think he's ducking. Because, and I'll tell you why. Because he called out Gervonta Davis straight after, and he was so bold with it. And Gervonta Davis was basically like, "Yeah, come on, then have it." Because I think I feel like out of all the fighters in the lightweight division, and I'm not rating it in terms of I think Ryan Garcia is the worst. But I don't know. I'll have to do my ratings later. But I think in Gervonta Davis's mind, Ryan Garcia is the least talented out of them, and I think he's the one that he thinks he has the best chance against. Because his feet are not particularly quick, his hands are quick, but his feet aren't, and Gervonta Davis will just try and hunt him down basically and knock him out. And I think he was like, yeah, look, let's do it. And it's a huge fight. Let's be honest, it is a huge fight. It's not on the level of AJ Fury at the moment, but it's still huge. And these guys, if they all fight each other regularly, they will become superstars. And that's why I just thought to myself, what the hell is going on? And then in my mind, the first thing was, this doesn't make any sense, because Pacquiao's at 147 and Ryan Garcia's at 135. And I was thinking, this is going to be crap, because what's going to happen is he's going to go, he's basically going to go up to 147, and then he's never going to make 135 again. And that's like a perfect duck to say, oh, well, I went up because I went to fight the greatest in Pacquiao, which, okay, I get, but he's not even in your division, so it just makes no sense to me. So he's gone up, and then he can say, I can't really make 135 anymore, so I have to go up to 140. But then what he doesn't understand is that Teofimo Lopez is going to move to 140 at the end of this year. Exactly, so at some point, he's going to have to fight one of them. He's going to have to fight one of them in his career at some point, unless he retires at like 24, 25, like he said he might, and just become like a preacher or something. And then he can just keep on doing these types of fights. But I mean, it sits even worse with me being an exhibition. The reason I say that is because I feel like it gives boxing such a bad name to say, like, we have these top fighters, and Pacquiao, I don't really care what he does, because he's done it all already.
He's been there, done that.
That's what people forget. Like, he can do an exhibition if he wants. He can flip in fight a dustbin can, I don't care, and get paid for it. But like, to fight Ryan Garcia as an exhibition, I mean, he's doing it because Ryan Garcia's got a huge social media following, right? And he's just thinking, well, I can earn a bit of money from this, really.
Capitalize on it.
Yeah, and Ryan Garcia and De La Hoya is thinking to himself, this is a great opportunity to earn money, basically. And if especially if it's an exhibition, then they're not even going to box properly.
Records on the line, exactly.
Yeah, and they won't box properly anyway. It'll be like pity patty boxing. That's what it'll be. Like, we saw that even in the Triller stuff. Even though that's the older guys, and like Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, like loads of people are saying Roy Jones, they didn't even think he fought properly. Like, he was told to hold back and stuff. So it's just, that's why in an exhibition, like, that will happen because it's not a proper fight. So I was just so disappointed, and I'm kind of hoping that it just falls through, and it just kind of peters out, and we get that fight, because I was really looking forward to seeing him versus Tank. And then, I mean, Teofimo Lopez has been saying it's Devin Haney next, because he was supposed to have his mandatory with George Kambosos Jr., but because of like the whole situation, and now stuff's happening again in Australia when it was COVID-free, he's saying it might be Devin Haney next. So then we might actually see those fights. But it looks now that I mean, I just don't know what's going to happen because Ryan Garcia is like, oh, I'll put it on the back burner and then I can just visit him whenever. Like, that's not how it works. Because, and also when you start messing about fans like this, fans just, they become disillusioned and they become alienated with the fighter.
Yeah,
I feel like he forgets that. And the problem is people are saying he's moving a bit like a YouTuber because he's just trying to go with the most money is. And it kind of makes me
exactly.
think that. And he said something which actually really annoyed me, which I want to get your opinion on, which is he said, the boxing belts don't matter. I wear mine because it looks good. I was just going to say, first of all, he doesn't have a world championship belt. He has like some kind of like, he has an interim belt. That doesn't mean jack for me, really, unless you get elevated, which like Devin Haney did, but then everyone made fun of him for being an email champ. So it just does like it literally makes no difference, right? And also on top of that, he hasn't won anything yet. So someone like Pacquiao can say the belts don't matter because he's won it belts in 8 different divisions. But Ryan Garcia
Yeah,
hasn't won a single belt, a single world title yet, and he's only 21, 22. And I feel like there was this whole issue before where he was asking for loads of money and like him and Golden Boy looked like they were falling out and they made up again. But to me, it just, I don't know whether he is delusional. I think he is talented, but I just feel like because he's got a big social media following, he's more just like, I'm just going to go where the money is. I don't really care about legacy. And I kind of, that's his prerogative. But as fans, like we obviously want to see the best fight the best, and this isn't it. So I think for me, I've gone a bit of a rant because it just angers me so much. It
yeah.
just angers me so
No,
much.
I do agree. And for me, he's kind of treading that that line between being like a YouTube um like a YouTube fighter and a pro fighter. Because the thing is, I found out who Ryan Garcia is because of what he used to do on the Cobra Bag. I used to see him come up on my Explore page, and I was like, this kid's quite fast. And then he turned pro, and then he's been fighting, and I'm like, fair enough, you know, he's doing well. But now he's kind of, you can call it buying into his own hype, but I guess that's what he's come up off. So, you know, it's what he knows. And yeah, it is a shame because, you know, it's been 6 months or so since people started saying that they're the new Fantastic Four or whatever you want to call them.
Four
So
Kings, yeah.
if that's the one, Four Kings, they're not kings, they're princes. Not kings yet, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can tell that I think Tank and Tiafimo are quite serious, and probably Devin Haney is as well. But yeah, if he, it's just annoying to see.
Yeah, thing is, like he just fought Luke Campbell, right? So I'm thinking, yeah, he's getting serious, right?
That's like a good win.
Yeah, it's a really good win. And so
Very good win.
I'm thinking this is a step in the right direction. Like they've actually given him a step up, so they're serious. And 2021 is going to be huge for him because look, he's mandatory for Devin Haney. So will he fight him, or he's going to fight Javante Davis? I think even Bob Arum was like, "Oh, Teofimo Lopez, we'd like him to fight Ryan Garcia." I think before and then after the Garcia performance, he was like, "Oh, maybe not." But after the Campbell Garcia fight, but I think everyone wants to fight him because they know the draw he is, and he can clearly elevate boxing in a way that not many fighters can. And Canelo is the superstar of the sport, but he doesn't have that personality that someone like Ryan Garcia does, and that he
No,
transcends the
exactly.
sport. And I think in terms of being marketable, he's there, but he needs to be serious about it because otherwise, what will happen is he'll just get lost in translation in terms of him not wanting to kind of take serious fights. And it just kind of, to me, is a bit weird because I see this a lot with Golden Boy fighters, and you'd think that Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, who didn't really dodge anyone, they kind of fought the best of their eras. But the way that they manage some of their fighters, I just think, what the hell? Like, it makes no sense to me. Like Ryan Garcia, why are
Yeah,
you trying to not like just let him fight the best of the best? And I think they said at one point, I think it was Oscar De La Hoya said, like, I think it was a year or two ago, he was like, yeah, we're not going anywhere near Tank Davis because like he's just too good at the moment. And I'm like, maybe he said it at the time, like he was saying it because at the time, Jonte Davis
but
would have been a
surely down the
multiple
line,
champion.
you
Yeah,
want to test yourself.
yeah, but surely, like what he should have said is, yeah, maybe not at the moment. It's too early. He's probably too good for us at the moment. But in a couple of years' time, that's a huge fight. But I don't think he actually said that. So that's just a bit disappointing. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't want to go on about this too much because I feel like it's just a bit of
I got a couple more things to add
yeah. Go
though.
on.
I think he just needs to, like, you know, I'm I'm not one to, you know, tell him how to like run his career or anything, but I think there's like, you know, he needs to be careful of like just becoming a celebrity fighter instead of an actual fighter, and just, you know, doing things for the fans and whatnot, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's his career, and, you know, he can definitely take it far, but, you know, stuff like what's going on at the moment, I just don't think it's the right decision or going in the right direction. And then secondly, I had a bad feeling about everything very early because of the way Eddie Hearn was talking about the fight with Devin Haney. Because even though he's a mandatory for Devin Haney, Eddie was always like, "Oh, we really want to make this fight," rather than, "Oh, it should happen next." So from there, you could just tell that, you know, it's all like they're already on the back foot, and, you know, it's already looking like a no more than a yes. So
Yeah, I think Eddie
yeah,
definitely
it's
wants.
just
Everyone wants that fight with Ryan Garcia, don't they? But I mean, Eddie Hearn was saying like it should. I think, yeah, he said like we want it to be next, but I think the reason why he knows it might not be next is because
there's conversations for other things going on.
yeah,
It's
and
because he
exactly.
knew. It's because he knew.
But I think for him, he'll be holding out and hoping now that look, Ryan Garcia Haney's not going to happen. But in his head, he's thinking. I think maybe the reason why he didn't mention Teofimo Lopez is because I think he probably thinks it's too early for Devin Haney. Whereas Ryan Garcia, I think you've got Teofimo Lopez and then you've got Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. And Tank, I'm a little bit unsure on where he kind of sits because he's only had one fight at 135. All the rest of his fights have been at 130, including the Santa Cruz one. So I'm sure he still will be a top fighter in 135. I just don't know exactly because the kind of work that he's done at 135 is so small, the sample size, that is tough to know. But I'm more leaning towards he's probably going to be in the upper echelons around about Teofimo Lopez. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully we get at least one of those fights, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I was to categorize them, just like looking at them now, I'd kind of put Teofimo and Tank slightly higher, and then Haney and Garcia slightly lower. But at the end of their careers, I think it should level out.
Yeah, I think especially with Devin Haney, because I feel like everyone says that he's technically the better fighter, but I think the issue with him is that he hasn't fought particularly good opposition yet. But he's been fighting since he was like 15 in Mexico and stuff. So clearly he is serious about this sport. Let's see how he can do. I think he needs to be careful as well. He doesn't get led astray, because I feel like with him, he's trying too much to, compare himself or like with the others, or try and like big himself up from a social media point of view. But I think he just needs to stick to himself, be himself, and just focus on boxing, because he is a talent. I just think he needs to get a marquee win, I think, and then push on from there. But if he gets Lopez next, I do think it's probably too early for him, but that'd still be a very good fight, because I think Haney is, I wouldn't write him off in that fight either, because I do think he's a very good fighter. But I think Teofimo Lopez, I'm not saying that Teofimo Lopez particularly just wants him because he thinks it's probably too early for him, but I think he knows that if he fights him now, he's got a better chance.
He has a much better chance.
Yeah, rather than in a year or 2 years, where most likely Devin Haney's progression will have caught up a little bit to where he's at. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to touch upon before we wrap up here?
Lightweights, I just want to mention the forgotten man, Lomachenko. I really want to see him back in. I'm missing. Just want to throw him back into the conversation because, still want to see him fight because he's an unbelievable fighter.
I'd love to see the rematch between him and Teofimo Lopez. I actually think it'd be closer, but Teofimo Lopez is a very, very... I think he's one of those fighters that he doesn't take lightly to being lowballed or underestimated, and I think he's just thinking to himself, like he hasn't reacted well to it and just said, why would I give him the rematch? Because like he barely gave me the chance, and when he did, like I got lowballed, and he basically said, I'm going to smash you up, and nothing happened. And so I just think for him, he's thinking to myself, why do I really need it? But he probably doesn't realize how big a rematch, that would be huge, and he'd earn a lot of money from it. And he's talking about earning big bucks. If he really wants to earn the big bucks, he either needs to fight kind of one of those four, Lomachenko, and he's talking about Devin Haney, but I think there's more money in either fighting Lomachenko or Gervonta Davis than
Much more.
Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney at the moment. So, yeah. Okay, thank you very much for being on. And guys, please remember to like, comment, and share the vids. Thank you very much. It really does help. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.